Court, sitting in Abuja on Friday, granted an interim order releasing the deposed Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi, from detention. Justice Anwali Chikere granted the order in line with the prayers on the ex parte motion filed on behalf of the deposed Emir by Lateef Fagbemi, SAN. Sanusi was on Monday sacked as Emir by the Kano state government and then banished to Nasarawa state, having his freedom restricted by security officials. And just less than 24 hours after his deposition and banishment, he was appointed by the Kaduna State Governor, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, as Deputy Chair of the State Investment Promotion Agency and subsequently the Chancellor of the Kaduna State University. Joining us from our Abuja studio to discuss this development and more is a public commentator, Dr. Tim Ayoola Abiodun. Good morning, Dr. Tim. Thank you for joining us this morning on The Morning Show.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's start with the basics of what took place with regards to the dethronement, of Emir Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi. Walk us back to the origins of this dethronement.
Basically, you definitely, if you've studied the trend of the crisis that brewed over a period of time, you understand that even while the daughter gave a lecture some time ago, she said the father wasn't afraid of any consequence to the fact that he is actually being very vocal regarding affairs within the state and the nation at large. If you know the Emir very well, he's a passionate man. Though becoming the Emir, or if you're a monarch, as we are in this part of the world, you definitely be a bit diplomatic. But because he's a man of passion, because of hatred towards certain tradition and culture, and he came up, he was vociferous, he was vocal, condemning certain norms, certain traditions, system of doing things, which basically the establishment wasn't too comfortable with that. He was at loggerhead with governor several times, and if you follow the trend, you understand definitely that this would happen. So it didn't come as a surprise as such, but what came as a surprise was the banishment, which you understand actually was in the 18th century. The British Empire, the colonialist, that was their style. Quite a number of kings were banished within Africa, some sent to Seychelles. The former Oba of Benin was banished, sent to Calabar, died there. It was a practice then. Then at the early 19th century, that was completely abolished. And quite a number, like King Nana Prempe of Ashanti region in Ghana, came back at 1931 or so, came back to the Ashanti region. Chwatu of Uganda also came back. I think one died in the process of his return from exile. So sending a king in this modern era, it's actually, that was the strange part of it, which the world frowned at completely. You saw the reaction of people when that banishment came. So it's completely, it does not go with the modern norm at all. So which it's not within the purview of even the government to banish anyone. That was against his constitutional right.
Okay, and
so looking at the Emir.
Please continue.
Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead. You wanted to ask something?
No, please continue.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, looking at the Emir, looking at his travail. At first, when he was dethroned, a lot of people, felt that this is a man, a witty, a very intelligent man who does not deserve to be dethroned. But also looking at it from the other angle, from his appointment and reappointment and re-engagement by Lagos State government. As I speak with you, he's in Lagos right now, and he'll be chairing the convocation lecture, which will be coming up on March 26th. That is to tell you that this is a man that is highly intelligent, and also being celebrated by the government and by the people and by the nation at large. If Lagos State could engage him, Kaduna State also could engage him. That is to show you that it's not actually everybody that was actually in support of the dethronement. But on the other hand, it's also a blessing in disguise, because over time it is going to be very much useful. It's going to be at hand to make visible contribution. The things he talked about, the things he criticized, I believe that he will be a free man now to make quite a number of contributions. And also, if the government will be engaging him in the area of reorganizing and re-engineering our current economy, you know the role he played when he was the CBN governor. Trust me, the former emir of Kano State is Royal Highness. SLS is a very witty and intelligent man that is also going to be a blessing to the establishment and to the nation at large.
Yes, if I could come in here. Yes, just like you said, a lot of people have been reacting negatively to the dethronement of SLS, fondly referred to as SLS, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. Wale Soyinka, a respected Nobel laureate, actually said that, you know, he is one of the greatest reformers of the feudal order. And many people would also say that maybe SLS did, you know, step on toes, including that of Ganduje, and maybe too, you know, that of the president, where he actually criticized the $22 billion loan which the president was seeking and has now received the go-ahead, you know, by the Senate. But let's even look at the reasons why the, you know, Kano State governor removed him as emir. They said, you know, it was to safeguard the sanctity, culture, tradition, religion, and prestige of the Kano Emirate built over 1,000 years. Do you think, you know, truly that these allegations are truly what the emir, former emir, you know, is guilty of?
Let me come this way. If you appoint a comrade as a governor, you bring someone who has been possibly an activist, and somebody that, if you follow the trend, if you follow his career paths, and over time, Sanusi is not somebody you can gag him and stop him from talking. What he believes, definitely, he would definitely voice it. So you cannot completely, you know. And also, when he was appointed, I expected this. Basically, I as a person, and I know quite a number of people expected him, because the fact that you ask a question, if I support the fact that the allegation leveled against him, if they are true, you had all the time he spoke, he never made it a secret. He spoke where he felt he needed. He was speaking at public lecture, because basically what he believed, he couldn't hide or conceal his anger towards how things were done. And you and I know that certain things, actually, the way you can't separate religion, culture from politics in Nigeria. So when you become a king or a monarch, there will be a bit of diplomacy. That area of diplomacy, His Royal Highness could not actually fit in. It's not somebody you actually give rules and say, okay, these are the things you say, these are the things you should not say. So basically, it's because of his passion to see change, to see things happen the way he believed it should be. I believe His Royal Highness came before his time. He came ahead of his time. And as it is, basically, if you are occupying a public position, even in the country, even if certain things are going in certain areas, there are quarters, there are avenues you can go to channel your grievances or complaints, or if you think there are certain things that are done in a way where it is believed that you go through that norm. But this is a man who went, if he goes to any public lecture, and he said things as he feels and as he thinks it should be done. So the activism is in his vein, is running in his blood. So basically, he couldn't be gagged. So he felt, this thing need to change. He came to power and he felt we can change it. These are the way we should do things. So basically, so that's on his own part. Because it's in his blood, you can't take it away from him. Right. And basically, you will see in time to come, he will be speaking more to things he believes should change. So on the part of the government, and the government felt you know, because you need to massage the ego of a man. Basically, maybe the government felt their ego was bruised. They saw some of the things he was doing and saying as a form of insubordination and a revolt against the constitutional powers. Within the confines of the governor. So he felt that we cannot continue to tolerate this, and if something is not done, I think this will spill out of hands or spiral out of hands. So that is why the governor himself had to take that decision. But basically, the governor and the government of Kano State will be in better position to explain to Nigerians and the world why that decision was taken. But I feel that Nigeria needs His Royal Highness more in the public sector and also in the area of national development. Just like the Nobel laureate said, he's a reformer. And trust me, over time, over the period of time, he's going to be making visible contribution from the point of speaking, from the point of contribution to the policies and the area of economy. So I can't talk about his political future. He's free to vie for he's free to vie for whatever he wants to, or in any area or whatsoever. There's no limitation to what he can do right now, because he's no more constrained or confined into the cocoon or in the regalia of the Emirates. So he's a totally free man and a free citizen.
Mr. Abiodun, I don't think I'd be telling any secrets if I were to say that you are clearly a big fan of Sanusi, and it does look as though you are not alone, especially not in our studio and indeed across the country. You did mention there that there are ways in which that we can channel Mr. Sanusi Lamido Sanusi's talents in the public sector. And even though you did touch on perhaps a political campaign or a political career, where do you think those things could happen? Do you see a political post in his future? He has, as you've said, gone from being the governor of the central bank to taking a cultural title there as Emir of Kano. Do you think now is the time for him to kickstart or start his political career?
No, there's no discussion about political career right now. The man needs to rest. He needs to take a break. Trust me, he's gone through a lot in the shortest period of time. It's not easy to be dethroned, even if we're trying to encourage him and make him understand, and also in solidarity with him that we are with you on this. Basically, it's just a form of solidarity. He needs to go back basically, even if you look at it, the government of Lagos State is engaging him. He's going to be speaking at the convocation of Lagos of the LASU, Lagos State University, on March 26th. Immediately while he was purportedly banished, even when immediately he was dethroned, the governor of Kaduna State two appointments consecutively. So what do you call that? If the politicians and the people in government can start engaging him, imagine what will be the cry of the masses. So basically, it's going to be the demands and of the people, because it wouldn't even be his own choice. If you go to ask him right now, because of what he has gone through and the trauma, the psychological trauma, he will tell you that I don't want anything. I just want to be on my own and make my own contribution from the backstage. But it's going to be out of popular demands. People will. Did you follow the social media trend? The comments of people about him, even his hater then, when he made a public pronouncement regarding the previous administration, even people who hated him spoke in his support, in solidarity with him.
Dr. Tim Ayoola Abiodun, we are going to take a short break, but when we return, we will be talking about our heavily lauded Emir, or pre-Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, and his appointment by the United Nations. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show. We are still joined by the public commentator, Dr. Tim Ayoola Abiodun, speaking about the dethronement of the former Emir of Kano State, yes. Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. Now, prior to going on the break, Dr. Tim, we were speaking about the fact that not only has he been lauded by Nobel laureate Wale Soyinka, he's also been given 2 appointments by Kaduna State Governor El Rufai. Further to that, he has also been celebrated by the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, amongst 16 other people of laudable achievements. Why is it that the world seems to be celebrating our own, but we are yet to do the same?
Well, basically, the story of His Royal Highness is just like a local balance, a prophet not being honored in his own home. But I think in the wisdom of the state government, they felt that it would be more useful to the public than confining himself to the Emirates. So I think they decided to also help push him up to bigger responsibility. And that is happening right now. I think we should not see this as vendetta. We should see it as a blessing in disguise. And we should also thank the governor and also commend His Royal Highness for the time spent in service, because he came, he saw, and he conquered. It was his desire. If you look at his career path and the antecedents in the line of His Royal Highness, while he was removed as the governor of towards the of his tenure as the governor of the central bank, immediately he was saddled with the responsibility of leading the Emirates and being the Emir of Kano. I wouldn't be surprised if other bigger responsibility come even on the world platform, because he's a very intelligent man, he's witty, he's full of ideas, he's well educated, and he's of a sound mind. From the way he speaks, you understand that he's a man, he's a no-nonsense man, and I believe that this is the kind of man that we need, not just in Nigeria and Africa at this point in time. And especially this time that we are having economic crisis, especially which I can say was caused by this coronavirus or whatever it is called, and the plummeting price of the crude oil. I think it's going to come handy in providing solution, both at hand and off hand, regarding all these issues on ground. So basically, I think it's commendable. Though I've not confirmed the appointment, I saw it on social media by United Nations being appointing him for whatever. I have not confirmed, but if that is true, basically he deserves it. And if you see the letters that came in from South Africa, from the wife of the former president of South Africa, Mandela, the letter sent to him, the letter immediately he was dethroned. The letter from the former president is going to tell you that this is a man that has created and he has made his own mark in public and private sector, also while serving as the CEO of First Bank, while serving as the CBN governor, and also his immediate office as the Emir of Kano. So I think it's commendable. And also we must also thank the government of Kano State for being free-minded to release this man, a bundle of talent, to the nation and to the continent at large. And we should all encourage and applaud what the government has done. And we shouldn't see it in bad light, because they felt that he is bigger and he should not be confined to that office. There are other bigger responsibility he could undertake, and I think that is the main reason, because an Oba or Emir, in our own view in this part of the world, should be a bit moderate. It should be a father of all, you know. But basically, His Royal Highness is not somebody who you can be moderate. It's not somebody you can confine. Or it's not somebody
Dr. Tim, just to ensure that we are on the same page, I will read out the statement given by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, as he named him and 16 other influential figures around the globe as sustainable development goals advocates. He says that former Emir Sanusi Lamido Sanusi has pushed the agenda of global development to a new height. The appointment has Mr. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of Ghana, Emma Solberg, Prime Minister of Norway, as co-chairman of the committee, and from Grasa Machel, founder of the Grasa Machel Trust and Foundation for Community, came the message of solidarity. The message in part reads, and I quote, "Your Highness, we hold you in very high regard and count on your knowledge, expertise, experience, and wisdom to continue to lift the continent to higher heights. We proudly count you amongst the Grace Machel Trust International Board of Advisors and stand with you in your courageous efforts to speak truth to power." We are here for you should you feel there is something we can do in order to assist you during this very challenging time. End quote. I'll now hand it over to my learned colleague, Ngozi, to continue the conversation.
Learned, you make me sound like a lawyer. And talking about that, senior lawyers in the wake of the dethronement of the emir did question the legality and constitutionality. As a matter of fact, they said that all traditions and military era scenarios have played out against Nigeria's constitution, 1999, as amended. And of course, thankfully, he has been released. But then again, it raises the question of legality of restraining the movement of any Nigerian, including the emir of Kano, who the Kano authorities actually said he was never banished, but he was only removed. But then again, we know that he was confined to this place in Awe in Nasarawa State. But we know that he's in Lagos now.
Yes.
Speak to that.
In that, like I said earlier, I've made a comment regarding that there is nowhere in our constitution that supports the banishment or confinement or whatever thing you call it. It was a practice being done during the colonial era, where kings were banished when they were dethroned because of their stance on resources and being conquered. So it's nowhere in our constitution. That is why you had the court gave an express order of releasing him and refraining the state government or whoever, DSS, the IGP, from holding him. And immediately he came back to, he's in Lagos, just like you said currently. So basically, it's not in our practice. It's not the right thing. It's against his human rights, basically. So that being said, on the side of his appointments, I just had, as you read it out, I think it's a laudable one, and he's a man of intelligence, a man of idea. Basically, if you're not being celebrated at home, you're being embraced out there, and it's going to make a lot of tremendous contribution. Is going to do something great in that field. So in other area, in the area of the national contribution on national development, the emir has already started from the engagement by Kaduna State government and also Lagos State. He will be speaking at the convocation. So basically, I think for now, he's got the support of everyone in solidarity, both internationally and also locally. So if you see the massive support is enjoyed from the masses, both from the both parties, both APC and PDP. This goes beyond the political divide. It's about a solidarity, a national solidarity for a man that people felt was being punished, and to them it's not acceptable. So you can see the whole action, the action of the masses, the people, both nationally and internationally. That definitely speaks volume. That no one is in support of the treatment being meted out to him. But in disguise, like I said earlier, it's a blessing in disguise. So for him, I think if you look at a man like Sanusi, should not be confined to an emirate. Is a man who is beyond borders. A man whose influence goes beyond national input or national influence. It goes beyond that. Is a man of international repute. Is a man of a Midas touch. When he was the CBN governor, the record and what he did speaks volume. And I'm sure he still has a lot to contribute, both from his new appointment at the United Nations level and also other appointment that will comfort that will comfort. But as it stands right now, basically there's no doubt about it what is capable of doing and the impact is going to make if it's properly engaged by this government, which I know that will still comfort.
Mr. Abiodun, if I could switch gears there, I know we've spoken a lot about Sanusi Lamido Sanusi himself, but if we were to switch gears now and look at Kano State, specifically the state governor, Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. What do you think that this decision will do for his own political legacy? How do you think that he will be seen henceforth after this decision?
Well, Nigeria is a dynamic nation, is a dynamic country. Just give time. There's going to be lapse of time with setting, and people will move on. People easily move on in this part of the world. But there's no doubt about it that that is already there, the mark is already there. But basically, with time, people will move on. And practically, as it stands right now, people are focusing more on the positive side of it than the negative side of it. So whatever implication that is going to give will be decided by the people of the state. Maybe further, maybe later in future, if he decides to engage himself on the national platform as regarding politics or political engagement, that could come up in one way or the other. But as it stands now, is the Kano State people who have the final decision or final say in whatever capacity or whatever that has been done. But on the national platform, it's a blessing in disguise. Sanusi will be very handful in re-engineering national economy. On the international front, you can see the engagement just like you read out there. So basically, we should look at it on the general view, not just confining it to Kano State as a whole. So the people of Kano State, we speak, and they have spoken. A new emir has been appointed, and I think they've all moved on. So let's focus more on what the future holds for SLS.
Dr. Tim Ayoola Abiodun, we thank you so much for your words with us just there.